Hey Kevin, John Costigan. So I know I actually offered to do another video to you, and it's actually a cool story because the third reason why I love this so much actually ends up becoming the number one reason why. So listen, as a sales trainer, I go out on site, and I go on site and I do my training. And now, thank God that I have this solution, because now with COVID-19 and everything going on, there's no going on site. And I've already been doing this 2 years. So when I'm having conversations with customer prospects now, I'm like, hey, I've been doing this for 2 years, and I learned really quick what not to do, what doesn't work, things of that nature. So, I think anybody else who's getting into space, there's obviously going to be a learning curve, and that's what you are so phenomenal about. I remember the first time I ever met with you, you're like, hey, so you want to make sure within 5 or 10 seconds you're writing something. Number two, they're going to ask you, how'd you learn how to write backwards? So he goes, but you definitely want to get that marker going quick. And just all the little tips and tricks that you taught me really enhanced the customer experience. Well, of course, you and me as a sales trainer, and with the companies, I'm flying over the planet, so I know that story between, Google and Amazon and Oracle, and, and I'm in Dubai to Dublin to Mumbai, India, you name it, right? Well, I would come back here, and of course I'd be the on-site. It's almost like they get to see the concert, they get to see me making live cold calls, but then when I come back, I got to reinforce it, because you just can't have a bunch of people going, that was a really nice show. I can't do it, but that was a really cool show. So I would come back here and I'd reinforce it. I'd kind of lay out the principles, and I'd do it on here, and it was amazing, because now I was able to actually take my product of what I was charging, and I can go plus and go, oh, by the way, I have reinforcement now, and I have a really cool technology. So it was just a win-win-win. Well, and of course I put here in terms of reinforcement, then I had CTU, which is my Costigan Training University. So I would reinforce like this live. They could also just log in and go to static training I filmed on here, that were courses and classes you would take that a lot of people have. Well, I was running late to a meeting, and of course, I have 2 studios, and I wasn't going to make it back to this one. So I'm like, oh, heck, let me just do my sales call. And the meeting was a sales call. And I'm like, I've never done a sales call on here. So next thing you know, I'm doing a sales call. And I put the company's name up here. I put their value prop. I put the size of the organization. I put everything up there, and then I list the people's names in terms of who I'm meeting with that day, and then their title and their role. So when they got on, everything was buttoned up. They're like, "Wow, this guy's really done the homework. He's got our company, the value prop, the size, the locations. He's got the people that are on the call. He's got their titles." And then everybody was like, "Wow, this is really, really cool." And this is the first time I'm doing a sales call. Well, the next thing what happens, Kevin, is that, and me, I keep it loose. Like if a marker's starting to run out, I'm like, "Hey, I'm just coming back. I'll get another marker." All right. So, because you got to keep it loose. We're not doing NBC studios here. Okay. So anyway, as I'm starting to write down things about this client that I was talking to, the people start referencing things like, well, John, it's a real struggle. It's a struggle to do this, and I'm pretty frustrated, with this. And one of the words I'll never forget was, it's just overwhelming for our managers. They're so busy right now to try to reinforce. And so I'm writing all this stuff up, and after about 20 minutes or so, I looked at the VP, and I'm like, so Glenn, I go, what are your thoughts? And he just goes, well, first off, we got a lot to do. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, look at, look at this. Look at, we're pissed off, we're struggling, we're upset, we're frustrated. He goes, we got to get going. And of course, Kevin, in my world, I'm a big believer, just like Dale Carnegie, we're creatures of emotion, not just of logic, right? And it says people buy emotionally, they justify logically. Well, when you have a bunch of people that are getting all emotional and they actually see it, it's like a doctor coming in with an x-ray going, let me tell you how bad the break is. And you visually see the x-ray versus just a doctor telling you about it, that's a whole different world. Because most people are visual. Visual is a big part of what motivates us. So at the end of the day, by the end of this meeting, it was boom, let's go. And I'll never forget the coolest part about it, Kevin. They're like, let's go, let's do it. Oh, by the way, how much are you? They were actually committing to move forward, and I didn't tell them my price yet. So I will tell you that the number 3 reason that I kind of thought, oh, maybe I'll use it for this, became my number 1, because it just rings the bell and brings in money. So anyway, over and above how great you guys are, obviously between service and support and all of it, and just those little tiny things, I don't think people really value the little things you tell us that truly enhance the customer experience, so it doesn't look like it's your first rodeo. So anyway, and I know how many times I've given you a call. I'm like, Kevin, I'm going live in 5 minutes, got a question. So especially when I first started off, now I feel like I'm old hat, I get it. But hey, listen, man, love it, number 1. Number 2, it definitely differentiates me from my competition, anybody else. Number 3, my customers, they get engaged. I'm not looking behind me, all of that, which I know everybody gets that part. But I will tell you, the purpose of this was, this technology rings the bell. It helps you win business, especially for your salespeople, if you have the ability of getting them on here and just if you have a nice sales process and you get the client to walk through in terms of all their gaps and their challenges, and they see it visually, man, it motivates them to move forward. And in my case, it did it without, hell, I didn't even talk about money yet. And they're like, let's go. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon, man.